Yeah. Plaquemine Parish Council meeting, March the 9th, 2023, is now called to order. We'll have roll call vote. Let the record reflect there's 8 council member present. Ms. McCarthy is absent. We'll move to item 2, please.
Item 2, executive session. Discussion of litigation in accordance with LRS 4417A2 in regard to the Parish of Plaquemines versus ConocoPhillips, et al., 25th JDC number 6982, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus HHE Energy Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6983, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Exchange Oil and Gas Corp., et al., 25th JDC number 6984, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus LLOG Exploration and Production, et al., 25th JDC number 6985, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Equitable Petroleum Corp., et al., 25th JDC number 6986, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Linder Oil Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6988, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Riverwood Production Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6989, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Hellas Oil Gas Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6990, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus BEPCO LP, et al., 25th JDC number 6991, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus North Coast Oil Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6992, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Cass Kids Operating Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6993, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Goodrich Petroleum Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6994, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Devon Energy Production Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6995, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Roselle Operating Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6996, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Palm Energy Offshore, et al., 25th JDC number 6997, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Great Southern Oil and Gas Co., et al., 25th JDC number 6998, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Hillcorp Energy, et al., 25th JDC number 6999, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Apache Oil Corp., et al., 25th JDC number 61000, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Campbell Energy Corp., et al., 25th JDC number 61006, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Total Petrochemical and Refining, et al., 25th JDC number 61002, Division B. Attorneys Carmouche, Cossage, Parasola, Taylor, Connick, Burglass, and Tankersley. Councilmember LaFrance.
We'll also take item B2 also.
Keith Babin et al. Versus Plaquemines Parish, U.S. Eastern District of Louisiana, Civil Action Number 18-7378, Section D5. Councilmember LaFrance.
And I so offered.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Newsom. Any discussion from the table? Machines are open. And the measure passes 7-4, 1 abstention. We'll go into an executive session at 4:50. We'll return from executive session at 5:42 p.m. There was no final or binding decision made in executive session. We'll move to item 3, please.
Item 3, Proclamations. A proclamation declaring March 11, 2023 as Frank Rojas Day in the Parish of Plaquemines. Councilmember Kotnovich.
I'll offer ask for unanimous second.
We have a motion by Mr. Konovich. Are we good with a unanimous second? We have a unanimous second.
Yes.
Mr. Konovich?
I'll let Mr. Jurasich go ahead.
This is for Frank Rojas. He's a 6-year-old who lives in Venice, Louisiana. He's a first grade student at Boothville Venice Elementary. Frank was born on August 21st, 2016. His parents are Nicole and Cody Rojas. Frank also has 2 brothers, Ashton and Landon, and a sister, Cambry. Frank is a definition of what you call a down-the-road boy. He loves the outdoors, hunting, fishing, going to spend time at all the marinas, bait shops where he gets to play with the live bait, and going to the beach at Fort Jackson. He also loves to play with his friends and spend time with his family. Frank was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer over the summer. As many months of fighting, remission was in view after getting the mass removed out of his liver right before Christmas. We are here to celebrate our hero. We know God has a plan for Frank, and we are praying for a miracle. Frank has brought something to Plaquemines Parish that hasn't been seen in years. He is bringing our community together, and he has the hearts of our parish residents. According to Frank, the best day of his life was his kindergarten graduation party, which is how Frank's Day came about. Frank's Day will be March 11, 2023. It's a great day to celebrate Frank and show Frank how much he means to us. Frank's Day will be a celebration. The word cancer won't be mentioned, and it will be a day of nothing but fun for Frank and his family. Frank is an amazing soul who means the world to so many people, especially Plaquemines Parish residents. And we also, the Empire South Pass Tarpon Rodeo is gonna issue Frank a plaque in his honor for it's the
We renaming the youth all-around fishermen to the Frank Rojas
Memorial
Memorial
Trophy.
Trophy.
And he is having a massive party this weekend, this Saturday, down at the Lighthouse Lodge. And they're getting a tremendous amount of support from the community. We think it's going to be one of the biggest days the lower part of the parish has seen in a long time. So if y'all have time to come, please come on out to the Lighthouse Lodge on Saturday and join. I think it starts around 11,
11?
I think, so 11 to 5, yes. Okay, thank y'all very much.
Thank you. He just shows what a down-the-road person, the courage he shows. You know, you always hear every time a hurricane comes how, resilient the people of this parish are. Well, he's the top one, and he's a good little boy, and keep him in your prayers. Thank you. Anybody else?
Anybody else on the table? Okay.
Audience?
Vote.
Machines are open. And the measure passes 8-0.
Thank you.
4, status report by the parish president. 4A, update by charter directors.
As everyone knows, the parish president is representing the parish at the Police Jury Association meeting. The administration will do the best it can to answer your questions as we move along the agenda.
Is there any questions from the table for the administration? Audience?
I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Reverend Evans?
Yes. Ever since I became a councilman, one of my issue was the Reverend Percy Griffin Community Center. And when I first came in office, I found out that the locks has been changed. And so my first request was, I'm not going into this building until the keys are changed. And I talked to Jane, who's the superintendent, and she said it would come out of our budget. And then that went on back and forth. And so keys, locks were changed, but I never received any keys. But I knew there was some justice of the peace who had keys. So then my first time actually going in the building was having our community meetings. And when I went into the building, I was applauded by the condition of the building. The bathroom, water from the ceiling was being contained in plastic garbage can. I had the health department, Raymond, to go in there because a lot of the ceiling was brown. I mean, it was just horrible condition. And so I didn't want to have anything to do with the building. I really tried to get the director of the senior citizen to take the senior citizens out of that building altogether and send them to Berkeley. But then there came a point where the superintendent was questioning me about the space. And I made it very clear. I said, well, I don't know how we're going to use the space because I'm not in the building. I don't have no keys or anything for the building, but I'm concerned about the building leaking. And so I did talk to administration, and I found out about the leaking. So then I began to move on to talk about how to repair the building. And then still, and think we were fortunate enough to get somebody coming in who's going to repair the roof. But then one of the questions she kept coming to me about is the uses of the room and why I need this. I said, hold on, please. The council already designated this as a district on council office. Ms. Bartholomew had it, so it's nothing new. And I'm not doing anything with that building right now because I have no plan. So then I developed a plan. So then on yesterday is one of the days that really I had to do some serious praying and soul keeping because she aggravated me. She was in such a way that was unbelievable. It was so disrespectful. Because what she told me, I'm at the building right now, and I'm trying to find a place for recreation. And I need to know. I said, oh, wait a minute. We've been down this thing. I'm not even concerned about that building until it's complete. I'm trying to get the building to be back like it was when I used to manage when they first opened it, to get industrial refrigerator, to get the roof fixed and all those things. I said, and we have a plan for recreation. You know, we have a plan for a group to come in and do a year-round program, computer. But I'm not concerned about all that. What I need you, because I don't understand why you need this. And then at that point, I said, you know what? I don't have no time for this because you're not going to force me to do anything. And for some reason, she just kept on and on and on like the hell with you, what you really telling me. It was so disrespectful. It was unbelievable. So here's my position. If she take that position with me, as a council member, I have to be concerned how she treats the people under her employ. What they go through. I mean, it was so disrespectful. I mean, it was unbelievable, and we never met because I was going to share that whenever we met. But I had some serious problem in how she addressed me on yesterday. I said, look, obviously you're going to do what you want to do what you wanted to do, but right now, that building is not my concern. So anyway, so I'm just putting it really out there, you know, about the building because of mere fact that I'm saying as a councilman, you can't tell. She said, well, they got this room with the conference room. I said, well, that is definitely a serious issue for me because I need that conference room. She said, well, we got to do something. Now, here was happening when I talked to, he said, well, look, what we really trying to do is that when recreation put on some kind of event, we need a place for that. Now, when you walk in the door, there's a reception desk table, a long table there. People get out of bed, elevated, that person could be right there. But anyway, there's a big to-do around a spot for somebody in recreation. I thought it was an overkill because I told her once before when she said, why you need all this space? I said, look, I'm not going to go back and forth with you on that. That is my council office. And I'm not doing nothing with that building until it's repaired. And so I really had some serious issue, you know, around how that happened. I mean, it really was very upsetting for me. So I just want to, I'm not asking you you don't have to respond for it, but I'm hoping it's something that you address.
I do have a proposal from one roofing company. I'm scheduled to meet 2 more next week, and I've contacted a 4th. So that is on my radar, I assure you of that. Regarding the incident with the building superintendent, I'd be more than happy to sit down. This is the first that I'm really hearing about this incident. I'd be more than happy to sit down and resolve this.
The other thing, do you realize that there is a company prepared to do the work, and they also had people to come out and look at the roof too?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
And I would encourage all council members to be very careful about going outside the normal channels to get certain work done. I'm not saying what Mr. Edwards is proposing can't be done, but it has to be done in a legal way. And we have something in Louisiana called the public bid law, and that's a public facility. And public facilities can't just be done with however anybody wants to do them. They have to follow a process, they have to follow procedures, et cetera. So I would just caution council members to make sure that they go through the normal channels and make sure legal has a look at this, because I wouldn't want anyone to get in trouble. I certainly wouldn't want the government to get in trouble over doing something improper. And I'm not saying anything yet was done improper. I'm just saying we need to be very careful about that. And I know some of you are new members, and so when things like that come up, I would hope that you would all reach out to the legal department and make sure that what you all are proposing is being done in a lawful way.
Are there any more comments from the table?
Yeah, one other thing. I have a letter that a young lady with the EMT came to get her, and she had some serious problem and how she was treated. I don't want to read that letter out. She said she tried to reach out to you on several occasions. Something happened on March the 1st. She didn't get any phone calls. So anyway, I had to put it in writing, and this is her complaint.
Yeah, if you want to forward that to our office, we'll be happy to forward it. We have to be very careful about what we say, because once again, there's HIPAA rules and regulations, and I don't know what's contained in the letter, so I would prefer to, have us discuss that in private.
We'll move to the next item, please.
5, bids and advertisements. 5A, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing oil, grease, lubes, etc. for a period of 6 months for use of parish-wide. Councilmember LaFrance.
So offered.
Second.
Any discussion from the table? Audience? Administration? Machines are open. And the measure passes unanimously, 8-0. Next item, please.
5B, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing limestone, crushed stone, and riprap rock aggregate for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use. Councilmember LaFrance.
So offered.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Konovich. Any comments from the table? Administration? Audience? Machines are open. And the measure passes unanimously, 8-0.
6, beer and liquor licenses.
Could you please key in if you have any? Mr. Konovich.
Yes, I have Bureau Civic Center, the YMCA, going to have a Bonko party. 36342 Highway 11, Bureau, Louisiana.
That's it. Mr. Champagne?
Yes, I have a liquor license request from an event called Fish Stock at Cypress Park, 13401 Patterson Road, Nola, Louisiana, 70131. What this entails is it's a play on words from Woodstock. It's Fish Stock. It's a community celebration of art, fishes, painting fish in Plaquemines Parish and fish of the parish. It's going to have live music, hands-on science experiments, all kind of neat stuff. This is the inaugural event, so we hope it becomes something that happens every year. I yield.
Reverend Edwards?
Yes, I have one for vessel boat launch.
What day? You have a day and time? Or
I'm sorry.
you have a date, address?
It was just given to me. It's a renewal, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Dr. Gui?
Yes, sir. For the Rotary Club of Belchase for a,
Speak into the mic, please.
yes, sir. The Rotary Club of Belchase, May 7th, 2013, for a annual cornhole tournament. I guess that's it.
We have a motion by Dr. Gui, seconded by Mr. Konovich. Any questions from the table? Administration, audience, machines are open. And the measure passes 8-0. We'll move to approval of the agenda. Anybody that want to do a deferral, please give the number. I'll start with Reverend Edwards. Any deferrals? Mr. Champagne, any deferrals? None?
No, sir.
Mr. Jurich, any deferral?
None.
Mr. Konovich?
None.
Okay.
We have Councilmember McCarty's. It will be 9A5 and 9H will both be deferred.
95, and what's the other one?
9H.
I have deferrals.
I do have the one. I want to go ahead and defer, what is it? 5F? 9F?
And I have item 7, 1B. Item 9-1, 9-2, 9-3, 9-4, okay, I'll do the total amount, I'll do the total with, we're deferring 9A1, 9A2, 9A3, 9A4, 9A5,
H.
item F, item H, okay?
7B.
You say F then H?
River Oaks permit. River Oaks permit, 7B.
Yeah, I deferred it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll move to item 7, building permits.
7, building permits, 7A, construction permits, 7A1, Locks LLC, application number 2023-49, install pile clusters, drill the Breton Sound 23 Prospect A, and install wellhead protector, 2 6-inch and 1 4-inch pipelines, Breton Sound area blocks 21, 22, and 23. Councilmember Edwards.
Offer.
We have a motion by Reverend Evans. I'll second it. Any questions from the table? From the audience? Administration? Machines are open. And the measure passes 7-4, one abstention. Next item, please.
7C, Shady Oaks Mobile and RV Park, final approval for 6 additional spaces, Shady Oaks Lane, Belle Chase, Louisiana. Councilmember Jurisic.
We'll take item D and item E, item F, item G, and Globo.
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
Item C, item D, item E, item F, and item G in Globo.
7D, Naomi Mobile Home Park LLC, David Jonker, Trailer Park Renewal, 14668 Highway 23, Belle Chase, Louisiana. Councilmember Jurisic. E, Belle Chase Mobile Home Park LLC, David Jonker, Trailer Park Renewal, 10700 Highway 23, Belle Chase, Louisiana. Councilmember Jurisic. F, Delta Dragon RV Park, Angie Majori RV Park Renewal, Finnegan Lane, Venice, Louisiana. Councilmember Kotnovich. G, Fort Boothville Campsites, Fort Boothville LLC RV Park Renewal, 41073 Highway 23, Boothville, Louisiana. Councilmember Kotnovich.
We have a motion by Mr. Konovich, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Jurisic. Any comments from the audience? Council? Administration? Machines are open. And the measure passes 8-0. Next item, please.
H, Campagna Properties, Janice Campagna Fireworks Stand Renewal for 2023, 7836A Highway 23, Belle Chase, Louisiana. Councilmember Schultz.
We also take item I in Global.
Empire Fireworks, Charles Lee Norman Jr. Fireworks Stand Renewal for 2023, 32381B Highway 23, Empire, Louisiana. Councilmember Jurisic.
We have a motion by Mr. Schultz,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Jurisic. Any comments from the audience? Council, administration, machines are open. And the measure passes unanimously, 8-0.
8, Introduction of Ordinances and Resolutions.
We have several. The first 3 are for Councilmember LaFrance. An ordinance to amend the 2023 General Fund and Road Maintenance Fund Operating Expenditure Budget, Disaster Preparedness Department, and Road Maintenance Public Right-of-Way Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to establish credit card and electronics check service and convenient fees for the processing of online payment fees in the Permits Planning and Zoning Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2023 General Fund Operating Expenditure Budget, Legal Judgments Department for payment of judgment and attorney fees in case number 18-7378, Section D5 in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The following 3 are for Councilmember Champagne. A resolution assigning Building 101 in the Greenhouse located at the Parish Government Complex in Belle Chase to the Plaquemines Parish Coastal Resource and Protection Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan, LRA Consolidated Government Complex Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan. We already have it. An ordinance to approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of the River Chase Properties LLC, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the map of re-subdivision, lots 1 through 10, into lots 1A through 9A, Square 50 Belle Chase Town Site by Bryant Hammett and Associates, certified by Hugh McCurdy III, PLS, dated June 30th, 2022, the owners having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. This one is for Councilmember Gui, an ordinance to amend the 2023 General Fund Operating Expenditure Budget, Parish President Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The following three are for Councilmember Jurisic, a resolution requesting the continued inclusion of the currently authorized Bayou Au Noir Ridge Restoration and Bay Adams Ridge Restoration projects in the state of Louisiana's 2023 Coastal Master Plan, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance pursuant to Section 2-80 of the Plaquemines Parish Code of Ordinances to provide for the solicitation and engagement of a contract grant writer for Plaquemines Parish government by authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to solicit requests for qualifications and/or requests for proposals, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to authorize execution of a revised agreement for the operation, maintenance, repair, rehabilitation, and replacement of the West Closure Complex of the West Bank Hurricane Protection Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And the final one is for Councilmember Kodnovich, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to work with the federal government in an effort to have Fort Jackson placed into the national park system, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that is it.
9, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. 9A, ordinances and public hearings pursuant to Article 6, Section 601E of the Plaquemines Parish Charter. 9A1 through 9A5 are deferred. 9B, an ordinance to amend the 2023 Waterworks and Sewage Fund Operating Expenditure Budget, Waterworks and Sewage Operations Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
I so offered.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Konovich. I'll yield to the administration.
Regarding this issue, the administration is currently working on some other options, so I was under the impression that this would be deferred.
Okay, item deferred. Item C, please.
An ordinance to amend the 2023 Manpower Structure and Operating Expenditure Budget, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
I so offered. Need a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Gui. I'll yield to administration.
As some of you, well, I think most of you probably know, we lost our chief building official who retired under the Lapine administration. There wasn't really enough time to figure out what to do and hire somebody. And by law, you have to have a chief building official. I'm sorry, certified building official. The parish has to have, and so we have since contracted that out. I think you all know Mr. Zach Smith. The parish president would like to see if we can find a full-time in-house chief building official here in the parish. And so the council did not fund this when we did the adopted budget for 2023. So the parish president is asking that it be, the budget be amended to include it so that we can advertise and see if we can find someone full-time here at the parish. And if that happens, then obviously we would release the agreement we have currently. As a safe measure, the parish president, in case we don't find someone, because we are concerned about the rate of pay, the parish president's instructed the legal department to go ahead and move forward with another round of RFPs to see what other options we may have in case we don't find someone in the next month or two.
Any comments from the audience? Table? Machines open? And the measure passes unanimously, 8-0. Next item, please.
D, an ordinance to amend the 2023 manpower structure and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
I so offered.
I just wanted to remind you there are changes.
Would you read the changes, please?
Sure. On line 9, the word manager and director, the word manager has been removed, and it's changed to unclassified communications director. And on line 10, the annual salary of $65,000 plus benefits has been removed. On line 16, the same change with changing manager to director has been made. And also on line 16 through 17, the annual salary of $65,000 plus benefits has been removed. And that's it for the changes.
I'll offer with changes for discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Conovich, second. I'll yield to the administration.
So, in my last 4 years here, one of our major problems that we've had is communications. We've had some public information officers who are under the classified service. The problem with one of the issues we have is the pay, and we have folks that come in that position, and we've had some good ones, so I don't want to discount that. But we get a public information officer under the classified system, and in a way, it's almost like a stepping stone. Generally, these folks have been young, and some of them, like I said, are talented, and they get scooped away to, one went to Cox Communication, another one went to go do something else. And so we have constantly been fighting this issue about having a communications person work for the government. And one of the major problems we've had, I think most of you all know, is during hurricane season. During hurricane season, this position is crucial. And I can tell you that during Hurricane Ida, one of the reasons the last administration struggled in getting its message out was because we did not have a PIO. So as a parish attorney, who should not be focused on communications. I was actually trying to help the parish president as best I can write press releases, review press releases, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just been a huge problem. And I think everyone knows that the public has been complaining, and you see it on Facebook, that we just haven't done a great job in communicating our message. And so the parish president's requesting that we get a communications director. It would be an unclassified position. The parish president has not settled on a salary. A potential salary would have to eventually be approved by the council, but he wants to look at experience, competency, qualifications, et cetera, before we settle on any kind of number. So this basically allows us to kind of move forward and see if we can find a potential candidate. One of the other reasons we've asked that this position be unclassified is because this person is really tied and connected to the parish president. This basically is the parish president's spokesperson with input from the council, spokesperson for the government. And if you look at other parishes across the state, typically you'll see the public information officer or their communications director follow them around. The governor's communications director is unclassified. The lieutenant governor's director of communication is unclassified. And the reason is because they typically follow the parish president around to political events. So currently the parish president's at the Police Jury Association. That may be an event where we would want the communications director to attend with the parish president. That would be a problem, though, under civil service rules, because part of that is also political. And under the civil service rules, the employee can't kind of be in a political environment. We actually had one prior public information officer who attended a function or an event, and it turned political real quick. We received complaints. The case kind of resolved itself because we didn't feel like the public information officer at the time was intentionally trying to evade the rules, but it is a problem. And so for those reasons, the parish president is asking that the council agree to this and see if we can get someone who's going to stick with us for at least hopefully 4 years, 2 years, and that we are not struggling communicating, especially during a hurricane.
Thank you, Mr. Beers. Any comments from the audience? From the table? Mr. Newsom.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Ray, I don't have a problem with it being unclassified because of the reasons you brought up, but I see we took the amount of salary out. and you spoke about getting somebody for the job, it's going to be tough. How is the administration going to proceed with this without knowing what's this guy going to get, what this person is going to get paid? What's their plan?
The parish president didn't want to put a finite number in it because obviously that's what the person's going to ask for. And so what the parish president wanted to do was leave the number on the side, look at qualified individuals and see what he can come up with. Obviously, wants to come up with something reasonable. And I think when he finds that candidate based on their qualifications, skills, experience, et cetera, I think he would then negotiate a decent salary and bring that to the council to then fund and put in the budget.
So the only thing, again, I don't want to be in a situation where somebody promises this candidate the world, and they say, and then it comes before this body here, and we deny it. And, I would like to get something before you guys get too far into the weeds with it, to let this body kind of know what's going on, so we can work in together, and, because we don't want to pit each other against one another. That was the old. We worry about the new. So appreciate if you guys do that, and that's all I have on it, Matt. Thank you.
And I think the parish president has done an excellent job extending olive branches and communicating with you all. And obviously, at the end of the day, you all are going to have to approve the salary. So I would suspect that he would meet with you individually and justify whatever pay is potentially agreed upon. And I certainly think he would communicate to the candidate that the pay is not guaranteed. It is contingent upon council approval.
Mr. Konovich.
Again, we did this a while back. The charter calls for 3 directors. Now we're going to name more people directors and give them more money.
The charter calls for 3 directors, but the charter doesn't say that there can't be any other directors. Those are simply the 3 directors that are specifically mentioned in the charter. The civil service rules actually allow for more directors and more positions. And so this has actually been cleared by the Civil Service Board and Commission as appropriate, consistent with what the governor has done, consistent with the lieutenant governor has done, and consistent with other parish presidents have done across the state.
Mr. Schultz.
So I have the same concern as Councilmember Newsom. Maybe before the next meeting, Mr. Hinckley can sit down with us and give us a broad, like a range that he's looking at. I know he's not going to have an exact number, but before it gets somebody's offer a job and gets to us, he might want to run that by us. Just make sure we're all on the same page. Also, why are we originally? It's in here as manager. Why are we changing it from manager to director? I mean, it's only just one person.
Because we're trying to, civil service in their job classifications, there are managers in the classified service. You don't see the word director generally. I mean, well, we have the human resource manager. It's just generally been that anyone who's going to be under the in the unclassified service, the word director is something that we use because it's also used in a charter, and those persons are or unclassified. The other reason is that person is going to be reporting directly to the parish president and no one else. And so typically folks who report directly to the parish president or called directors. We have an economic development director, obviously the 3 charter directors, and so that's just going to be consistent with what we have done in the past.
Okay. Well, and like I said, and Mr. Newsom said, if you could pass on the word to Mr. Hinckley to start having discussions what range he's looking at, just where we're all on the same page and not coming before us and then we're going to have to deny it because it's too high or something like that.
I will relay the message.
Thank you.
Reverend Evans.
Well, one of my concerns with the whole issue about classifying other people as directors, and if it's unclassified, it's not under civil service, why we have to use that criteria? Because you say this is going to be unclassified. The other thing is, how much were the previous directors paid?
The public information officer wasn't paid very much at all. Do you know what the pay was? You know, I don't remember. I don't even think it was in the 40s. It was 45. And that's one of the problems. I mean, you go to Venture Global and ask what their communications person makes, I can assure you it's not $45,000. And so that's one of the problems. We have a hard time retaining folks.
Well, I don't like using Global Venture as analysis with the Plaquemine Parish. I don't think that.
Well, it's just one example.
I'm just saying, but I don't think it's a good comparison. I'm concerned when we have some serious essential employees in this parish that we're losing. The grass cutter, the heavy equipment operator, they go into Global Venture because we're not paying them anything, but yet we're creating all these titles as directors and giving people $70,000, $80,000, and we're losing some of the most essential employees that we need. So I'm really with Mr. Konovic in terms of these director titles, because you got superintendent, director, how we using it. So I've had some serious problems, and I'll just wait till they come back to make my decision.
We'll defer it, and then we'll wait for the parish president to meet with you all and perhaps give you all a more full-throated explanation of why he wants this.
Thank you. We'll move to the next item, please. That item was deferred, and we'll move to the next item.
9E, an ordinance to amend the 2023 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Jurisic.
Yes, I offer,
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Jurich, seconded by Mr. Newsom. Mr. Jurich.
I'll call on administration for this one as well.
So as you know, the parish owns over 120 buildings in the parish. And in an effort to maintain these buildings, I'm having my buildings superintendent go to these sites as the issues arise, and it takes her out of the office a lot more than normal. So a clerk handling phone calls and handling issues and getting the issues to the right people would be very helpful to get a lot of these issues resolved.
Any comments from the audience? Table?
Yeah.
Mr. Jurich.
Yes, I agree. The buildings superintendent, she needs to get out and look at these buildings and go, visit these sites and see what needs to be done. And I think having someone in the office to answer those calls means we won't miss calls, and she'll be able to do her job much more efficient. So I would hope that we get support on this.
Reverend Edwards?
Well, I'm concerned about, I thought we had somebody doing that already. It seemed like we should have somebody doing that already. So I'm definitely not in favor, because I'm still trying to understand how buildings operate. So I have some serious concern about the whole operation of buildings. So I'm definitely voting no on it just for that reason alone.
Mr. Konovich?
They used to have two people in that office until one retired, right? So we just replacing somebody to take Tony's spot? Thanks.
The previous superintendent retired. The new superintendent used to be the workflow coordinator. Used to be the workflow coordinator, is now the superintendent. We've since hired a workflow coordinator, but there is no clerk. So the clerk is not there. The clerk was not funded in the last budget. And the prior superintendent did have a clerk. And because my aunt was that prior superintendent, I would hear a lot about how busy that office is, and it is very busy. It handles all the bookings, the weddings. It's responsible for keeping the buildings clean. I mean, it is a busy office, I will say.
Reverend Edwards?
Again, and the last part is what I've been thinking about, because I know in the Reverend Griffith and the people have been using that building because of the expense that had been causing to use the building. So I can't speak for other buildings, but I know there haven't been too many activities at all at the Reverend Percy Griffin Center. And the other thing, even if this would happen, if there's not a lot of other people on the workforce that can be put in that position.
They could apply for the position, sir. So once the position is funded, it would be on the Civil Service Board, and any employee who meets the minimum qualifications would be able to apply for the position, including current employees. But we cannot force them to do those duties without the pay. So we couldn't just bump a helper up into the position. We have to actually fund the position, advertise it, and if the helper meets the minimum qualifications, he or she could apply.
Any more comments from the table? Machines are open. And the measure passes 7-4, 1 against. Next item, please.
G, an ordinance to amend the 2023 General Fund and Road Maintenance Fund operating expenditure budgets, Flood Control General Department, Recreation Facilities and Services Department, and Road Maintenance Public Right-of-Way Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Newsom.
We have a motion by Mr. Newsom, seconded by Mr. Schultz. Mr. Newsom.
Yes. Want to cue me in?
Is there any comments from the audience? This is just different here. Mr. Newsom,
Cue me in.
you answer. Everything is.
This is an ordinance to appropriate additional funding in the amount of $32,000 to purchase the vehicles through the LGAP grant awarded to Plaquemines Parish government through ordinance 22-151 due to the increase in vehicle purchase price. So with that, I'll defer to the administration on this.
Yes, Mr. Newsom, you're correct. Ordinance number 22-151 was passed last year, where we received the LGAP grant to purchase vehicles. Since then, those vehicles will not be ready until 2024, but it became at this point that we can get them sooner, but the price is higher. So we need additional funds to get these vehicles sooner.
Is this this grant is coming to if we don't use it, we're going to lose the type of coming to an end where we need to use this grant money?
Yes, we need to use the grant money.
Mr. Konovich.
I was going to ask, because I know we voted on buying these trucks last year, and I thought we bought some.
The problem is that when will the trucks be available? And it will be late. We'd have to wait a long time for those particular trucks. But there are some that have become available, so if we pass this, we get the additional funding, we can go ahead on and purchase the trucks.
This is for flood control?
These will be for flood control, recreation, and prom.
I thought some came in already, but,
No.
and I know we voted on another vehicle. I wonder, why does it take so long for them to come in?
I mean, that's with the distribution and the availability. Since COVID, that has really been a problem with everything.
Most of it is because we use that state system, and the national fleet system is part of that. So all of your county, parish jurisdictions, all your law enforcement, everybody is pulling vehicles from the same pool. And when we had the COVID issues and all the chip issues and that delay in manufacturing slowed all the trucks down and vehicles down, that caused this ripple effect. Now, all departments all over are having this issue, getting fleet vehicles. You can go out and buy brand new trucks, but you can't get these low-priced fleet vehicles. The availability is not there.
Or even if you go to, say, a private dealer, they got to pay the state bid law, and they have no trucks on their lots that'll meet that?
Correct. That's how these came about. There's only certain dealers that deal with this national fleet system. It's not every Ford dealer is part of that system. So the system, the dealership Purchasing was dealing with won't have them available. Due to some cancellations, another dealer has vehicles available because another department or agency canceled their order or for whatever reason backed out.
Thank you.
I thought they were giving them fools away.
Yeah.
Mr. Newsom.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, it's up for $32,000, but it was relayed to myself that the whole $32,000 might not be needed for this purchase. So whatever's not used will be rolled back into the general fund. Just FYI for everyone.
Mr. Schultz? Any more comments from the table? Machines are open. And the measure passes 8-0.
9I, an ordinance to amend the 2023 firefighting fund operating expenditure budget, firefighting general department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
I offer.
Do we have a motion by Mr. Schultz? Seconded by Mr. Newsom. Mr. Schultz?
Yes, what this does is move $1.2 million from the unreserved designated fund balance to the operating expenditure budget, firefighting general. It's talking to Mr. Butcher. We're buying some air packs, 60 air packs along with extra bottles, 7 to 8 sets of Hirsch tools, which is your extrication tools, and 12 Lucas devices, which is the automatic CPR. I think Mr. Butcher's here to answer any other questions, but that's the general rundown of what this money is being used for throughout the parish, not just one district.
Any comments from the audience? From the table? Machines are open. And the measure passes unanimously, 8-0.
9J, a resolution conditionally approving the plan of re-subdivision of a portion of Tract 5E, Section B of Bell Chase Plantation into Cypress Park subdivision, Phase 2C containing lots 241 through 285, all without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Champagne.
Yes, well, this is the next phase of Cypress Park subdivision. I offer.
We have a motion by Mr. Champagne, seconded by Mr. Schultz.
Thank you. Well, this is the next phase of Cypress Park subdivision. I met with the developer and went over some issues that were discussed with constituents nearby. Had them go through the process again for ensuring that these 45 lots would not cause issues amongst other people who live nearby. Ran it through the process through all the departments. The process was last done in April of 2022. Ran it through again in January of 2023 with special emphasis on drainage. Was informed that a ditch was dug to ensure that drainage did not we will not have any drainage issues with nearby constituents. That was done. Can see no reason why this cannot move forward. I yield.
Any comment from the audience? Please state your name, your address.
My name is Melissa Nance. I live on 3222 Main Street. I've seen this plot, and it's actually an improvement to other diagrams that I have seen. There is one piece of property that faces the street that I use to get to my home that I have been maintaining myself for more than 20 years, since about 1997, I believe. I've had to deal with anything that has come up. The builder came and built the stuff past my house so that he could use it. He did not use it a whole lot, but he did use it enough to tear it up somewhat, and I did have to repair parts of it. I just ate it, never made any complaints about it. But this piece of property does not have a road except for my road. And I've had to buy a significant truck in order to make sure that I could get through that road, because when the seasons get wet, it can get difficult to travel. You can't fix it when it's wet. So if there's a long wet season, you can't fix it. I've had issues in the past where my car could not maneuver it. I've also had issues where my first load was about $1,000 up at the gate, because when we purchased the property, the road had been well used for years without any maintenance. And I went up one day and somebody had helped themselves up to a good portion of that rock, and then made a comment to me about how brilliant that idea was. And I explained to him that I had paid $1,000 for the rock that he had just absconded with. So I've been maintaining this myself. It's not really not going to be a parish expense, because the road, if you add someone else to it, there's a possibility that everything could be fine, but there's a possibility that somebody could be abusive to the road, because where he fixed it down the road, for instance, there are times when four-wheelers can't even pass by it, because the holes in it prevent even four-wheelers when it's wet to get through it. So
So, Ms. Nance, you are asking for the developer to maintain that road?
I don't know what to ask for. I just know that it's not an expense to the parish because it is a parish road. It's not a private road.
Mm-hmm.
It is a parish road. As a matter of fact, I believe it's the oldest road in the parish, I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a gate to it that prevents, and it was there long before I came, and it does appear to be a parish's gate. And the only reason it's there is because people were coming through with these big mud trucks in order to go through the road and on properties in the area and just play. And that basically prevented that. So I've lived a somewhat amicably with this road. But that particular lot could change that dynamic. Also, I would like the parish the parish in general, to be aware of the fact that a lot of these houses are 3 foot higher or as much as 3 foot higher than my land, which I understand is sort of the new standards, but they're going to be that's why I like this particular item. It really addressed a ditch on half of the line, and I really appreciated that they addressed that ditch. There's one more piece of property that when you put a roof on that piece of property, that water is going to run off the roof. The building's going to be possibly 2 to 3 foot higher than my land, and that water is going to go somewhere. My husband is not particularly as concerned about that particular piece of information as I am. Also, there just happens to be a way that the ditch water could flow from the other side of my gate straight and be connected to the ditch they're planning to go behind it, that I think would be very beneficial for the flow of water. And that's my...
I'm still trying to understand.
Rev?
I'm sorry.
Reverend Evans?
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand whether you're for it or against it, because in here it say without any cost to the Plaquemine Parish government. And I thought that's what you were saying too.
what I'm saying is it's not without cost, because then I'll have to come to the parish and say, hey guys, if it doesn't work out well, I mean, I could get a neighbor who could be wonderful and happen to have a truck and happen to help pay for all of the expenses. I don't know what it would be like, but I'm concerned about if this lot is sold. If it's kept as a green space, I'm not concerned. If it is kept and sold as a piece of property to put a house on, I am concerned that that is a cost to the parish, because then I would come to the parish and ask them to help me maintain the road that I've been maintaining since 1997.
Okay, Ms. Nance, I'm not understanding
That it would be, this particular lot would cost...
It would be an expense to the parish. That's
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, that is your comment. All right, thank you. Any more comments from the audience? Please state your name and your address.
Of course. Jacob Bro, 8114 Highway 23, Bell Chase. I represent the developer. I've been here, this is now the third council I think I've been in front of for this particular development. This is actually the final phase of this development. You will not hear from this thing again. This is it. This is the end of it. To prevent some of the confusion, I think the road that Ms. Nance is talking about is locally referred to as Old Cutoff Road. Before there was the Intracoastal Canal, what you would do, and before there was Highway 23, that's how far back we go. We go back to the Hero family that donated this land to the parish back, I think, in like 1912. So what you do is you'd follow the river road, and then you'd take Old Cutoff Road to the Algiers Ferry. That's what it was way back in the day, over 100 years ago. That road, to my knowledge, has not been used in my lifetime. I've lived in this parish since my birth in 1977. It's been a rock road. When we were kids, we used to ride bikes back there. That's about it. The neighborhood, to prevent any confusion, does not use this road and never will use this road. There's nothing connecting to it. I think what she's talking about is one of the areas on that final plat that's marked green space. If it's marked green space, that's what it will be. It cannot be a house without coming back to this council to change that designation from green space to an R1A and put a home on it. The flooding concerns and all that stuff, I think that's been addressed many times before. There was a ditch dug on the development's property, not Mrs. Nance's property, that takes all water out. There's no flooding issues. Her comment about the houses being 3 foot up, everything drains from back to front on the homes. It's required back that way. It's under an HOA. Further, this development voluntarily has everything private. Streets, street lights, everything. Parish isn't on the hook for any of that stuff. All you'll do is sit back and get the ad valorem taxes on the homes. If there's anything else I could address, please feel free to ask.
Mr. Evans, Reverend Evans?
No, I'm sorry. I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Newsom?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's just a question, and this is a ongoing problem, and it's with a lot of developments, newer developments about private streets maintained by HOAs and private drainage maintained by HOA. That works fine today, next year, 2 years, 5 years. But the problem comes in when these houses get sold and new residents come in. How does any new resident that's bought a house in this neighborhood, say 8, 10 years from now, know that when they buy this house, they're on the hook to fix the streets, to fix the drainage, and all that? How does that message get
So what
relayed?
happens before any lot is sold, you have deeds and covenants and restrictions that attach to the land forever. Okay, and they're public record. They're recorded in the clerk's office. Anybody can go see them. So when you buy that house, the closing attorney or the closing company that does that closing, they have to put that in the sale, and you're on notice. You're buying just like, it may say 100 Cypress Drive, or the lot may be 100 foot wide. It's going to say in there that this is a deed restricted property, and that's by law. The HOA can sue that individual if they do not pay the HOA dues.
Next, I guess another question. Why wouldn't a developer build streets or drainage that suitable that the parish can take? Is it a cost thing?
It goes back really with 2016 when this thing first started. The parish finances were tough, and I don't think the parish government wanted any more liabilities. So again, this is a win-win multiple ways, because you have these homes paying property taxes, but when that homeowner has a problem with a street light or a crack in the street, they really don't call Mr. Champagne's office. They call.
I disagree with
They
that.
call the HOA.
Well, I'll tell you, I disagree with that statement, because I have a street in my district, and it's almost the same exact stuff you're talking about, and they don't call the developer. They don't call Energy when the light's out. Guess who they call? Me. And I feel a call. I have to feel a call, because as a constituent, I need to do what I try to do to help them. And guess what I can do? I can't help them, because it's private, because it's law, and it's a tough, puts these guys and gals up here in a tough spot when we are going to accept something that's not up to the standards of the government. And I have a hard time doing that. With that, I yield.
To address any standard issues that we may have, that's kind of what Mr. Champagne was alluding to earlier, that it goes through an approval process where every director, or supervisor has, they check off. Drainage is good. Streets are good. Then what happens is it gets built after this process, and once it's built, they go back out. They check the as-built. Streets good. Water's good. Drainage good. So on and so forth. And then we come back to another vote, which you actually will see me one more time, for the final on this, right? Which comes after all the construction, and that's how the process works. I don't know what more checks and balances you could do, and then this is, I guess it's maybe a volume thing where it has an HOA, it has a paid staff. It's not more, traditionally when you've had maybe down in Jesuit Bend or whatnot, where you have maybe somebody splits up a property and it's just like 5 or 10 lots, and they have a private road, and that's hard for 5 or 10 people to maintain a road. I get that. But when you have 200 or 250 and they're paying, $500, $600, $1,000 a year for that, and there's a maintenance fund for that that's held by this HOA, then it tends to work. It's a proven system that works.
Mr. Newsom, I'm going to let you know that I tried to pass an ordinance to make these developers guarantee these roads and plumbing and lighting for 5 years. And the previous council voted against it. And we have representatives from these developers that came to the council meeting and argued against it. So instead of in 5 years, I said, well, let's do 3 years. Let's compromise and no. Mr. Conover.
Isn't this the same subdivision that a council accepted the roads and all, and then the road failed and we gave it back to y'all?
The first phase was, 1A was public, and then everything, we took those and everything since private.
Y'all wasn't doing it out the goodness of y'all heart to save the parish some money. The roads failed within, because things what happen when a subdivision's built, y'all build the roads, y'all make the lots, sewage, water. Then what happens next, y'all start selling lots. Then these big cement trucks, big dump trucks, everything goes in and starts building the neighborhood, and the roads failed. That's why y'all had to take the roads back.
Whether or not roads failed, I think that would be disputed by some experts on that with engineering degrees.
There's multiple repairs.
So regardless, though, it's a subdivision that works. I think people that live back there are very happy with it, and it's very popular. The product's been proven. You know, a lot of teachers, a lot of policemen live back there.
Yeah, but
they get a new home.
We took the roads at first. They failed. We gave them back to y'all. And then y'all went, oh, now the HOA is going to have to pay for the road repairs. So it's not out the goodness of the builder's heart that he didn't.
Well, I disagree with that. I disagree with those statements. I don't think the roads were ever proven to be failed. And then on top of that, you've had 3 or 4 phases since, all of which I've never heard of any neighbors complaining about the roads since that time.
And Mr. LaFrance is right. We tried to get them to pass a deal to guarantee their roads, but nobody wanted to do it.
Well, roads have been back there for, I think, since 2017 or 18.
And I got
Highway 23 been there a long time too, but
it has.
Mr. Newsom.
Yeah, Mr. Bro, one more question. Will, and it might be in here, it might be in this, and I've seen the subdivision, very nice, I'm not here to dispute that. Do the homeowners drive pilings in these lots, in these subdivision, or
As far as I know, every home, both in that and the neighboring one in the parks, has pilings, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any more comments from the table? I can't let you come back up.
The lot in question is for the property owner to keep it for himself. It is not set aside for green space.
Any more comments from the table?
I got one. Oh, so you saying right here today that spot's green space forever?
If it's marked green spot on the plat.
Well, it's so small I can't read it right here.
But you see, this is not what procedurally. Just for the record, we've had an open door policy for years to discuss anything before we get to this point. For years. Multiple reviews, multiple
I tried
phases.
to go to my council office.
I can't read this maps because it's so small, but you saying that the lot she's talking about isn't the green space one?
If it's marked green space, it's green space unless we come back to this council to change it.
Well, like I said, it's so small I can't read what it is on here.
Well,
Any more comments from the table? Machines are open. And the measure passes 7-4, 1 against. Next item, please.
9K, an ordinance to amend the 2023 General Fund Operate and Expenditure Budget, Engineering and Public Works Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Champagne.
I request a second. I offer.
We have a motion by Mr. Champagne, seconded by Mr. Schultz. Any comments from the audience? Mr. Champagne.
Yeah, I defer my comments to the administration.
Good evening. So recently,
What's your name and your address?
really?
Yeah.
Ken Dugas,
What's your name and what's your address?
Ken Dugas, 333 FL at A-Bear, Building 500.
Okay.
I believe I lived there most of the time. So recently, we have had annual fees that come in from DEQ. Well, we've been getting them through the years. What happened now is the invoices are showing up at my office because in the last 8 years, people didn't know where they belonged. So we're getting permits from DEQ for discharge from our wastewater plants, our water treatment plants. We have from our pump stations. These fees are around 12 to 14,000. They fluctuate through the years, but they're annual. And since we were taking those fees out of our capital improvement budgets, we figured it'd be better to take them out of official fees versus taking it away from construction projects. We also have NOGC is a railroad down here that they're requiring an annual fee now for all of our water lines that cross their utilities that cross under the railroad tracks. So it's around $5 to $6 grand every year. And then we also pay permit fees annually to DOTD. So since these bills are showing up at my office, I thought it would be less confusing that we have a budget set up for official fees in my department budget.
Is there any comments from the audience? The table, Mr. Champagne.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Dugas's assessment. Everything's gone up, and now he has these additional fees, and it's much better to have this budget, to have him taking it from projects, as he mentioned. He's already operating on a shoestring budget, and to pull from that limited fund would just set us back on other construction projects. So I think this is a wise move on his part. I yield.
Any comments, any more comments from the table? Machines are open. And the measure passes 8-0.
Item 10, approval of the minutes from the February 23rd, 2023 regular meeting.
Offer.
I have a motion by Mr. Konovich, seconded by Mr. Juritich. Machines are open. And the measure passes unanimously, 8-0.
11, new business. 11A, introduction of resolutions wherein suspension is being sought. 11B, District 9 update, Councilmember Kotnovich. 1, discussion about Bureau sewage.
Yes, I talked to Ken at the dedication the other day, but there's blockages everywhere in Burris and Sunrise. I got a sewage going in an open ditch, and they got a pumper around the block back to the sewage. And other places it's going in people's yard overflowing. So where are we at with the engineering of getting these plugs fixed?
Okay, what I can tell you, Mr. Konovich, we have Infomark reporting to the sites when they have an overflow. When they come to us with those problems, then we'll go and assess it, try to get the area cleaned up and correct the problem. But at this point, I know we have lift station issues throughout the parish. We have treatment plant issues down in Burris and Boothville still. Port Sulphur was recently cleaned up. We had the sludge, the drying beds cleared and emptied. And I believe the trickling filter was repaired at Port Sulphur, so that one is back in compliance. We're working currently on Burris, and Boothville's next. As far as the overflows, as they're reported, we send out the health department or Infomark to go assess it, and then we try to come up with a game plan. As far as engineering of any of these, at this point, I know we're working on the Empire, Davant, and Bell Chase lift stations. And also, just to touch on it, we're working right there on Highway 11 with the money y'all had appropriated previously at another council meeting. So
Well, I know one spot is right in front of the bus barn. There's a manhole cover. The ditch fills up with sewage, raw sewage. Some guy comes out once a day and pumps it across the block in the pipe, back into another pipe. And that's happening in a couple spots. And I don't see nothing getting cleaned by health department or.
So Infomark will report to the sites and
They go
address it accordingly.
They go every time I call them, but they keep telling me they're waiting on you.
That's news to me then, Mr. Konovich. I'm glad to hear that. Maybe I'll make a phone call tomorrow.
Yep, because he's the one who tells me we waiting on Ken Dugas to engineer and fix the problem.
Okay, I'm happy to have them call me at any time and let me know where that site is, and we will address it.
Thank you. And a question for the boat harbors. I'm getting calls from renters in the boat harbor. Are we taking out of their checks now, or do we have a plan for them to pay? Or because a couple of them told me Go Park's still taking their money.
We were told, Go Park was sent a cease and desist at the end of January. I know January's bills were sent, but as far as I know, that was the last bill sent by Go Park. We are going live March 15th with the new system, Nautilus, and we are going to give the tenants 3 months to take care of their bill without any late fees, but they all will be or have been sent emails or phone calls notified of the new system. That's going live March 15th.
I know a lot of them in the Venice Boat Harbor said they clueless. Nobody's contacted them. They don't know if they're going to be back in the newspaper for not paying their slip rental or.
I assure you, we have a 90-day period that no late fees will be assessed until everybody is familiar with the new system.
But we are contacting them now? 'Cause
Yes, sir.
as of
Yes, sir, we are.
2 days ago, they still wasn't contacted.
If you have those names, please forward them to me, and I will make sure they will get that contact call.
Thank you. I'm done.
Reverend Evans?
Yeah, I know in Pearl Hash, that marine is horrible, so I don't know, and haven't been there. The last I've been there, I haven't seen any real work done on the area back there, so I don't understand how they could even charge people for the condition that exists at the Pearl Ash Marina.
Is that your District 1 update? Mr. Beers, could we make a request to have Mr. Morgan to come to the council meeting, so when any questions come up about water or sewage, he can answer?
I think, of course, I guess the question would be, does he need to be here at every council meeting? I think if you make a request,
If somebody,
I think if you make a request to the administration, we'll certainly get him here, but I would hate to have him come to every meeting if it's not necessary.
well, when, Mr. Conovich got the Beers sewage, and then I know we have the water. Sometimes we have the Point LaHash water plant.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I just would hate for him to come and no questions be asked. So I think it would just make sense for, if we see this on the agenda, we'll ask him to come, or please make a special request, and we'll have him come.
And there was a letter that was sent out. I don't know who got that letter.
I got one. The sewage.
Yeah,
The water.
From the water, yeah. No,
For what now? I didn't.
for the water.
A letter saying.
Infomark sends out a letter every quarter maybe, and I've been signed up since before I was a councilman, and it gives you the rating of the water
Okay.
in the parish.
And every time they send that
And
letter out.
it's
people
not
get
good.
nervous.
Okay, I understand. Well, we'll discuss that issue with him. Like I said, anytime we see an item like this on the agenda, I'm sure the parish president will request that he be here. And if something's not on the agenda, please make a special request.
Thank you. Move to the next item.
C, District 7 update, Councilmember LaFrance.
Yes. To the directors, if you have time, sometime next week, I would like to discuss with both of y'all issues about, we hired many people today, but this parish really need to hire at least two good mechanic. And that will save the parish hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Because a lot of the stuff that we outsource, and I know that costs quite a few dollars. So I know we're probably going to have to raise up the pay to hire two good mechanic, but we need to put that on the agenda.
Councilman LaFrance, I would love to see that. Our maintenance department is grossly understaffed, and any help that department could get with skilled mechanics would be fantastic.
Let's work on that, and
We're gonna
let's work on about raising that pay up.
We're going to ask the civil service, because it's been advertised for quite some time and we've yet to have suitable candidates, we're going to ask civil service they're going to have to do a special specific study. Well, it's not a full-blown study, but they're going to have to dig into that, and we'll ask the commission to review that and increase the pay because we simply can't hire somebody.
Okay. And also, I would like to talk about getting these ditches clean, swept, cut, and different. When y'all have time, call me. I'll make it available. I had a phone call from the Becknells. Their ditches hasn't been clean ever since Hurricane Ida. You know, some of them flooded and everything. So, but whenever you have time, give me a call. We'll set up a time where we can meet and talk. Okay? Thank you. Next item, please.
D, District 8 update, 1, discussion about civil service.
Yes, I've been receiving quite a few phone calls recently from people who are putting in applications with the Civil Service Department, and they're not hearing anything back. And some of these people seem to be reaching the qualifications needed. And I look, we see all of these jobs that are open right now, and I just wanted to ask, Civil Services, what's the criteria, what's the what it takes to get someone hired, because I have a lot of, quite a few phone calls, and I don't think I'm the only one, talking with some of my fellow council members, they're getting some of these calls too. I know, Councilmember LaFrance, you talked about, mechanics. We had a very good qualified person apply with civil service to find out that he was underqualified. This guy can fix any piece of equipment. He can run any piece of equipment. He can drive any boat. I mean, he was very qualified to do that, but, for some reason or other, he came unqualified, not qualified enough. He didn't reach those qualifications. Well, he's driving crew boats and rebuilding engines as he's working right now. I mean, that would have been a great asset to the parish, especially in the shipyard division where the bobcats and the hoist, the lifts and all of that, and that's the job he applied for in Point Lahash, but he didn't get it. And, I've recently hearing from some people who've got years of experience doing certain jobs and want to work for the parish. And my concern is, they apply elsewhere and they get interviews and they get a job. We're losing good qualified people in this parish, because of the lack of, I don't know what it is, what takes civil service so long to make it. That's what I was wanting to get some clarification about, the qualifications and what it takes, what's the process.
Ms. Rowley? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Rochelle Lambert, Civil Service Director.
Ms. Lambert, I'm sorry.
Ms. Lambert.
I knew you was going to get it.
As I spoke with Councilman Juristich on yesterday, I'm not sure who that candidate was. If you give me the name, I can search that. As I stated, they're never overqualified candidates that they're applying. Maybe underqualified, but never over. So I'm not sure, and I can't really answer that. We have not had any candidates for the boat harbor. Is that the department?
was the one in Point Lahash, applied for the job in Point Lahash and Empire area with the shipyards and all of that as well, and also was capable of getting on the Empire Floodgate, the River Gate. This was last year, I believe, he applied, and y'all found him underqualified, not over, underqualified. But this guy's, I know him personally, and sometimes I think we need to look at who's the best person for the job and whose, dedication is. I know y'all have a certain set of criteria, and that's why I called you here today. And you did a good explanation yesterday to me, and, I just felt like, people need to hear it, and we want to just be sure that we don't lose people in this parish, to other jobs, because people, we're all short-staffed. And if we have someone that's willing to work in this parish, we need to look at that, maybe relax some of those issues y'all have so we can keep these people in the parish working for us.
Absolutely. We are getting applicants. They're not for all the positions that are posted, and we do have over 30-something vacancies available that are open to advertised to be filled. We are not getting an influx of applications, and I'm not sure what that is. I think that's not just locally, that's worldwide. But as you all know, I've been in that office by myself since August. I have been screening applications as they come in. There haven't been fruitful of applications. But when they do, if the applications previously, perhaps, there have been, where it was very strict, where we were like, if you didn't have those minimum requirements on the job description or the job postings, then perhaps you did get a letter and it was explained to you what you were lacking. That applicant could possibly come back and apply if they did have it and just didn't list that or anything like that. But when the applicants are applying, the contact goes out to those applicants if they're lacking something or maybe they missed something on their application. So I know I'm communicating with them to say, hey, this is what's happening, this is what's missing, as opposed to just rejecting those candidates, because I'm the one that has to post these vacancies. And when they have that many vacancies, it is a reflection of civil service. So I do not want to hire anyone. It's just a matter of getting those candidates to apply and making sure that they meet the requirements. Yes, I did speak with Councilman Jurisic, and I went through the process. It's a lengthy process between someone appointing authority requesting by memo to post a vacancy, to advertising, to giving that time limit. Currently, all vacancies are posted as until filled. In the rule book, it states 2 weeks to post and then remove. Because we have so many vacancies, I have been leaving them to until filled for that reason, because there's no applicants applying. So when they do, again, the rule book states that you should have a minimum of 3 eligible candidates. However, we're not getting 3 eligible candidates, but I am looking at the time frame of 2 weeks at least to make sure we didn't leave anyone who may have gotten close to that deadline of 2 weeks. That's not out there, but it's still in the rule books. When I get those applicants, I have been reviewing and screening and moving those candidates, whether it's via tech, they have to go through a clerical testing or math test, or they go through the screening, whether it's a DOT MVR or fingerprinting or just pre-screening. So we are moving applicants now, but again, those key positions that you all are thinking that needs to be something as mechanics, electricians, we're not getting those types of applicants. We are losing applicants. I'm tracking constantly of what's happening with these applicants that do not come, or if they do come, why they're leaving, if we have employees. So that information is tracked in my office. I can tell you, again, the process for hiring one candidate can take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. And that's between the advertising, pulling the candidates, screening the candidates, submitting them to the hiring manager interviewing, bringing back to my office, sending them through pre-screening, and then bringing them on board. That's a process, and that's a lengthy process. I have recently hired someone, an administrative assistant, who started this Monday, and my administrator will be starting on the 20th. So we'll be fully staffed where it's not just myself in here, and that person, one of those people, will be designated to doing the applications and processing those on a continuous basis. We are scheduled also for 2 job fairs that are upcoming. I could not get out in the field to do job fairs because it was just a one-man show. But we do have 2 job fairs that will be coming up, and that will also allow us to be out there visually, boots on the ground, to be able to try to get up with applicants, to find those applicants to be able to meet and try to discuss and find those candidates.
And in that, you just hiring two new people, but you're basically leaving other positions open with those hiring, right? Now we have a vacancy, but a vacancy in another office.
That person promoted, correct, and we do not deny someone from promoting if they are applying. Yes,
I agree with that.
Yes, sir.
But you created another vacancy when we did this.
I didn't create that person applied. I didn't create the
You have
vacancy.
another vacancy.
It created a vacancy, yes, sir.
Mr. Konovich?
Yes, but when did Ms. Dove leave the office? January?
August of last year.
Was it that long? I didn't think so.
It was that long, sir.
But, and we've talked about positions before, and had a grass cutter retire, and he came back wanting to go to the same position, and he was underqualified, so he didn't get the position. And do all of the qualifications call for education and/or experience?
Last year, we softened those requirements, so that has been changed as far as the education requirements for those lower-ended positions.
Because even if it was in there, education and/or experience, he had 30 years' experience cutting grass, so he shouldn't have had to have an education.
I'm not sure if that's just the only reason why he wasn't qualified.
Well, and then I just had somebody apply for one of the captain's positions on the port, and he was just denied, and this is what he told me. He had a arrest record 30 years ago, and that's why he was denied.
I cannot discuss applicants, I'm not sure, but again, we have criterias, as well as different departments have criterias to also be met. And that's what we are utilizing to be able to screen the applications.
But I don't know what he did or anything, but how long before your arrest record would be expunged? And like I said, I don't know what his record was, but say if I stole a candy bar, after so many years, it gets off my record, right?
Only certain crimes do, not all, so it would depend on the crime and what it allows for. I haven't done criminal law in a while, but not all crimes are automatically expunged. Only like DWIs, very low-level crimes.
You could see I stole a lot of candy.
Obviously.
Thank you.
Mr. Newsom?
You didn't get caught.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Lambert, for coming. A couple questions I have. You talked about job fairs. Where are they going to be at?
One's going to be an expo in St. Bernard, and we're also going to do one at the Plaquemines Parish Library in Belle Chase.
And do you have dates?
Yes,
Just post them on it.
Sure.
As long as you post them so residents can know, because we really
Sure.
need to get out to our school-age seniors that's graduate and give them sort of, and look, these are probably entry-level positions that they apply for, but, so, and you might can explain, an application comes in, your office screens it, your office only screens it?
Yes, we're the one who posts the job posting that's based on the job description as well. Yes, sir.
No, if it's in flood control, you wouldn't, do you bring the flood control supervisor in there to help screen? I'm not saying you're not knowing, but the flood control supervisor probably knows more about flood control than yourself. That's not what we call your swim lane. So, subject matter experts is, I guess, where I'm trying to go with this, to bring in some subject matter experts to maybe help your office out. I'm sure the administration would allow those guys to come in and help you screen some employees, because like I said, we over 30 applicants. Just a recommendation. I don't know if it's legal or not. Also, what's when somebody gets so your office sees a lot. What would be a recommendation you can give the public or the employees or the applicants? I'm sorry, to make a better do they need a better resume? Why they didn't get the job? I know you said you quote some, I don't know how in depth you go with that, but just maybe give them the reason why and move from there. Thank you.
For instance, I received an application recently for a position, and there was no employment history. Just the front page of their personal information, and they signed the application. So how would I know what the experience is to be able to determine if they're eligible or qualified for that position? In that case, that person wasn't denied. I reached out and told them, here's what you're lacking. Please review the job posting, go back and complete your application, and outline what it is that you believe you meet the criteria for that particular position. So those are the type of calls I make.
Do they give references?
No, references are not necessary.
Reverend Edwards?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier you have documented why we're losing people. Did I understand?
Yes, that's correct.
What are some of the reasons?
Better pay.
Better pay, okay.
That's been the main reason why.
Yeah, because I understand that Global Venture is also a lot of people going there. And then the pay, because maintenance, all the stuff we're dealing around, levy, heavy equipment people, we're losing a lot of those people. We're losing a lot of those people, and that's really hurting a lot of work that need to be done. And this is not directed to you, but to the administration. If we don't find a way to hire more people, because like grass cutting and all that, these are essential employees, and we're losing, and those are the very things that keep this parish going. And again, doesn't have anything to do with you, ma'am, but I think that's something that the administration have to begin to really look at, because we losing too many people.
And I have cross-reference check on what positions we have and we're recruiting for and what our pay is compared to the companies we're losing to, like Venture Global. It's like $7 or more differences.
And I know that was the same thing with some of the captains. They were looking at they can get more money, from the state than they would, working for us.
Recently, we just filled I think the port had 11 rescue boat engineers, and we have 9 of the 11 filled. As far as the deckhands, we had 6 candidates, only 2 made it through. Whether they failed to report for testing, whether they failed to interview, whether they failed to report for first day start, or whether they failed the pre-screening. So these are some of the dynamics also that we're running across. But again, as the applicants come through, I am working dedicated to make sure that we try to fill all vacancies that are there, because again, it reflects on civil service. So if I'm not filling positions, then that means I'm not doing my job. So it's not that we're trying to purposely turn any candidates away. It's just we're not getting those candidates to apply.
The bottom line, we're going to have to pay more money.
Absolutely.
That is the bottom line.
Thank you.
So, yeah, administration and the council, we're going to have to look, and we're going to have to come up with a plan on how to give our employees more money, because we're going to have to be competitive. We're going to have to be competitive. But when we pay the money, they're going to have to do the job. They're going to have to work.
I have done a study also, just to let you know, as I said, I've been tracking, and from August to current, we've had 48 hires or promotions, and we've had 36 leaves.
Wow.
Just to give you some numbers.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes. This wasn't one of my questions, but did we not just do the Archer study that was supposed to put us competitive?
Let's not even discuss that.
Yeah, I know. So now that you're fully staffed, an application comes in, what is your goal to get back to the applicant? Because I know in certain industries, especially mine, if you don't get back to them next day, if I apply for a job, let's say one of my staff people apply for the job, they're getting contacted the next day because people are needed. So what is your goal now that you have your assistant and the administrative assistant? How long until you at least get back to them saying, yes, you're qualified, you're going to go to the next step?
So normally in departments of private sector, say, you have a recruiting or a staffing department, that's all they do, is just that. In the civil service, there's more that's going on in our department. But again, that administrator who's going to be hired, that's going to be her sole purpose, to be dealing with applicants on a daily basis. That's going to be the main goal. Another thing we also spoke about in our Civil Service Commission meeting, I brought this to the attention, Mr. Kognovich, you probably remember, I wanted, NeoGov is a recruiting system. It's a human resource information system. If you all know USA Jobs, that's the system they use. Jefferson Parish, Orleans Parish, NeoGov is a recruiting system. It's a human resource information system. That takes out the manual labor and that puts it into electronic system where all of this paper goes away, and now it's an application that starts from a person applying for a position up until onboarding. And that's something that we have discussed with Port, and they're going to eventually talk about this as possibly working with the council to try to get that funded to be able to assist, and that's going to be a major part in the Civil Service Department for these applications.
Okay. Where do we all advertise? Do we just advertise on our website? Do we advertise Indeed, LinkedIn, stuff like that, especially for the the more professional positions, clerks, accounting clerks, stuff like that?
So currently we are on the parish website. We were in Indeed, but Indeed is not, it's a pay-based system. So all the postings that we had last year were free. When January came, it was a cost.
Okay.
So if you want to post, it's based on per click. So if someone applies and there's 5 applicants applying, if I click and open that application, that's a fee. So it doesn't mean that that person's qualified. It just means I wanted to view and make sure to see if they were qualified because they applied for a job that was posted on Indeed.
Okay.
So currently, whatever was posted last year is still in there, and we're still pulling applicants. But as of this year, we are not posting any new positions. We are in the Plaquemines Parish Gazette and the Voice for St. Bernard. And we will be posted, we are on Louisiana Workforce. I am working with them. I have been working with them all week. We have the jobs updated there. They recently we're in communication where they just recently did a flyer posting all the jobs that we have in the Gazette. They're going to be posting this in various places. They'll be doing news blasts to send out those vacancies throughout anyone who's registered with Louisiana Workforce. That is also how I'm getting to be able to do the job fair for the Expo in St. Bernard. As well as setting up this job fair that's going to be in Belle Chase.
Okay, and the last question I have is, do you have some type of order? Let's say you post a job today, and tomorrow you get 5 applications, but one is for a job from 6 months ago that we posted. Do you process that one first, or the 4 that you just posted, possibly? Like, do you go in some type of order of how long they've been open? That way we can get back to those applicants, because obviously if it's been open that long, we definitely need that position. Or do you just go first come, first serve on the application?
So again, in the rules, it states 10 days, 2 weeks, right? So if we're not getting any applicants, and if there's just one that's in that 10 days, then that's moving forward with that candidate.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Item E, District 1 update.
They may
Yes,
they may have someone in the audience that wants to speak.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Please excuse my attire. I had an emergency appointment today, so I had to hurry up and get here. My name is Chelsea LeCount. I applied for 4 positions since February 27th for the parish. I did speak to Ms. Rochelle via email. The responses were not very inviting, not very encouraging. I did not hear, well, maybe you're not qualified for this position, but here's these others that you are qualified for. It was not like I was being recruited, which I am qualified in every way for the positions that I applied for. And I would like to know moving forward what the parish is going to do to get people in, because there's people like me, we may be the only one candidate, but I was offered, as he said, a job a few hours later. And New Orleans, I'm a resident of Plaquemines. I don't want to go to crime-filled New Orleans. I want to work here at home. So I want to know what it takes to be qualified to work in this parish.
So, is it Lacombe? Okay. Did you get a denial letter?
I did not, and I did ask if I...
We can't hear you from there.
I did not. I did ask if I was qualified, and I was told that there is a screening process, and I would find out, and it's been 9 days. And within that 9 days, I have done 3 interviews. I have another interview on Monday with the CPA, because there is a process. And of those 3 interviews, 2 of them have been with the same company. So it's looking like I may be working in New Orleans, but I would love to work here, get great health insurance, get great, all the retirement benefits, and not have to travel to New Orleans. But like I said, I did not feel invited. And yes, I would be taking a little pay cut because someone in my position with my qualifications is going to get paid more. But like I said, health insurance, retirement, location.
Ms. Lambert, would you be willing to meet with her tomorrow?
I can review her application. Okay, so there is always the process. And she was not denied. She was communicated via the email stating that I am in receipt of the application. Yes, she stated that she applied for more than one position. And again, as I stated, the applications, if they do come in, they're going through the process. When she applied, I, again, am not just recruiting for 1 or 2 positions, I'm recruiting for multiple. So it's not that she's not being adhered to, it's just a timing. So I don't necessarily say I can meet with each person that's applying for position, but I did notify her that her application is received. Just as if anyone else reaches out via email, I notify that I am in receipt of your application and will be in communication, whether it's by phone or by email. And that's usually a standard coming from a recruiting company for anyone.
Thank you. Mr. Newsom?
Yes. Ms. LeCount, what position were you applying for? Do you know, can you speak on the position? Thank you.
When you text.
So I applied for the senior accountant position, which is at the port. I applied for the position underneath that, which is the auditor, sales tax auditor. I applied for workflow coordinator, and I want to say it was the secretary position. I'll have to look in Indeed for you.
My next, I guess, thank you. Are these positions, Ms. Lambert, are these positions still open or have they been filled?
They are still currently vacant.
Okay, what would be your recommendation to Ms. LeCount to, again, a question I asked before, sounds like she wants to come work for the government, which, thank you, we appreciate that.
I would love to work close to home. I have 3 kids. They go to private school. They have to be picked up every day. I would love to not have to drive to New Orleans.
This is again, a resident here, what can we do as a government, as civil service to help our residents, to show that we want to help them get jobs and not deter them, not send them to Orleans Parish or Jefferson Parish? Do you have any recommendations that she can, does she have to apply again or something?
She does not. As she stated, she applied at the end of February. So she's within a time frame.
Okay.
Her application is being received. I notified the candidate as I would with anyone. I am in receipt of your application. So it will be reviewed and processed. Again, my new administrative assistant just started Monday. So this week coming in, we will be reviewing all applications that have come in within the past week. I have been on top of all the applications, so her application, again, along with others, have been coming in, and we will be rating and reviewing and moving that process. So the communication will be there to let her know, and other candidates know where we stand as far as that. She does not have to reapply again, because it's within 6 months is what we keep applications on file. So she's within a time frame. It's not that she's gone beyond that.
Thank you. Okay, you got it. So it seems that, I know you spoke earlier, that we don't have a whole lot of applicants coming in. So you spoke of that earlier. So some of the, can we look at the ones that we do have coming in and really look at them and try to get it moving? Because this young lady seems like she's a very energetic young lady. She sat through this whole council meeting, which is kind of tough, but to be able to speak on this. So it looks like this would be a type of employee that we want to have here and working. So if you can, please do whatever we can do to help this young lady out and put forward. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, no problem.
Thank you, Ms. Lambert. We'll move to item E, District 1 update. Reverend Edwards?
I'll leave the Highway 39 issue up and get back. But on the community center, I want to go back to something Mr. Reaney said that been on my mind, because when these buildings was built, especially Reverend Griffin Center, it was a legacy fund, and it was a whole bunch of corporations that did that. And I managed that building when they first opened it for about 5 years. And one of the ways we was able to keep a lot of stuff, because it was outside people making it happen. When the people was building a prison, they donated a lot of money. Where we were doing our summer camp, even when I was director for Y, we was able to get private dollars to do our field trip. A lot of equipment in the swimming pool that came through getting private dollars. And that was the approach that I was looking at in terms of talking to the community, because like I say, the building having a hurricane had been in this condition for a while. And so I immediately contacted a company, and he immediately came in to say they will help fix it. So I just, maybe we can get together during the week and discuss that. But that's where my mind frame is at.
Yes, sir. And once again, when I made my comments, I said that I didn't think necessarily anything was happening illegal or whatever. It's just my job to make sure that whatever we do does meet the criteria, does comport with the law. So I just was cautioning, not just you, but all council members that we need to work with inside the normal channels. And if contracts are being executed or people are being promised stuff and it's not done properly, it will hurt you, it will hurt the government, and it's my job to protect the government and each of you as individual council members. So that's my only comment. I'm not saying that we can't accept private money. I'm not saying we can't do ultimately what you want to do. It just needs to be done in a proper way. And I just want to make sure that no one is making any commitments to anybody outside of the normal channel, so that I can make sure that we accomplish what you or any other council member wants to accomplish in a lawful way.
And I did let the parish president know when that went down.
That's fine. And like I said, I didn't know, but, and that's fine. And it may be very preliminarily, you guys are in the very early stages of trying to do something. I'm just trying to caution everyone. I get a little nervous when council members, maybe make things I don't know about, maybe make promises or things are said or done. And, I'm just cautioning you all to make sure when we're talking about big money, contracts, anything like that, to loop legal in so that we can ensure it's done in a proper way.
I'll definitely be looped in, because that's our goal.
We have a motion on the floor by Dr. Gould for adjournment. Seconded by Mr. Newsom. Machines are open. Reverend Evans? And the measure passes 8-0. We have adjournment at 7:36 p.m.